So today I want to show you how to provide oral access to your students. And so I'm going to go in and under a module, I'm going to put new assignment. On the assignment name, I'm just going to put test. And then I'm going to add that item. I'm saying test like practice, but if I were doing it, I would put, test questions, or maybe like oral all link, whatever makes your heart happy. Then when I add that item, you'll see that it pops up right here. I want to go in and I want to edit this. So I'm going to go in, and obviously there's no content at this point. I'm going to edit it. At this point, obviously you want this to be named something that's relevant to the students so they understand what they're looking for. This is also something that then you can just copy to the next module where you need it, or you can just change the name of the test each time. Right here, I'm going to put like a screencast link. Screencast is what I'm using right now to record all of this. Basically, you would just pull up your test and you would be reading it as you go along. You could also incorporate, like we spoke about the other day, you could incorporate any of those functions that the kids would see on Star Online, or any other accommodations that are deemed necessary by their paperwork. Then you have a couple options. You can insert the media. So you can, if you have a website code, like if you take your screencast and download it to YouTube, you could put the YouTube address right here. Just know that the dimensions, it's going to show up super big, like 500 and something by, whatever. As long as this says constrained proportions, you can make this number smaller. So you could put it at like 280, and it'll automatically put in the correct number that associates with that, so that you still have a square for your YouTube to look at. Because if not, it's going to be the whole width of the screen that the kids see. You can also do this. This is something that's really cool. If you are on YouTube and you get the embed code, you can just put the embed code right there, and then it'll pop up. You can also just simply type like questions 1 through 10, and then you can just simply link that and then put in the link that you've gotten from Screencastify. So then once I have my links done, I'm going to come down here. This is an assignment technically, but I'm not going to grade it. So I'm going to put not graded, just so it doesn't show up to where the parents are seeing, something that's not graded, or something that's supposed to be graded but not graded on the Canvas website. Right here is where I'm going to change things. So instead of assigning to everyone, I'm going to figure out who I want. Now I'm using my new teachers Canvas to do this. So I have a couple students in there. So if I just start typing CONNIE, it's going to pop up Miss Melton's name. I'm going to then add her. Then I can add Mr. Bryan. Then I can add Miss Jones. And let's say that those are the 3 kids that I need to push this out to. So you can use this for your oral all links, but you can also use it for differentiation, so that you can push out an intervention to some kids and an enrichment to others. On the due date, I'm always going to leave this blank in this case, but if it were an assignment, I could make it due. Just be aware that when you give it a due date, it disappears for the kids. So sometimes it's almost easier to keep it available. Just keep it open-ended, just because if you have a kid that has the flu or something like that, you want it to be there for them. You don't want to have to go back and change the settings. When I'm doing an oral all link, I don't put the due date, but what I do is I'm going to put, let's say our test is today, and let's say that this is for kids that are in 6th period. So 6th period is from 12:35 to 1:28. So I'm going to do 12:25, just so I give myself a 10-minute window. And then I'm going to do 1:38. So I'm going to do 10 minutes before and 10 minutes after. The reason I'm going to do this, number one, I want the security option. So I want it to be to where the kids can't get into it in another class. But last year, if it was a Pride Period day or some kind of alternate schedule, then you have to go in, the kids are like, I can't see my link, and you have to go in and change the time. So I just do 10 minutes before and 10 minutes after because many times that's going to cover you, even with the alternate schedules. So from there, I just have to hit save, or if I'm ready to go ahead, since it does have the times on there, I can do save and publish, and the kids won't see it until that exact day and those exact times. So when I do that, I can click save and publish. It is always going to say not all sections will be assigned. So if I'm pushing it out only to a certain number of students, it's almost like Canvas wants to make sure that you really did want to just give it to those students. So then I click continue and it pops up and everything's there. The next time that I go in to do a screencast for Oral Alt, I just click edit. I change the name. So like maybe this time it's, informational. Oops. And then I change the link. So maybe this time, Screencast does have a 10-minute limit on the free one. So sometimes you'll have to do 2 videos. It just depends on the length of the test and things like that. So I would just then change my link. I would come down. Notice that my students and like the not graded, that's all going to stay. Even my times are going to stay. But let's say that this test is on August 28th. So then I just do August 28th, click done. I just do August 28th, click done. And then I save it. And now all of a sudden, it's going to always ask me that. But now I have a totally different test and a totally different screencast, but I have the same 3 students that are going to get that accommodation that they need.